Alrighty, we'll call the meeting to order. Review the agenda for removal adjustments or additions.
We have one addition, which is a curb cut. It's working the right of way access permit 26-700 on Hard Scrabble Road. And my recommendation would be put that into consent agenda under 6E.
Let's just do it nice.
Alrighty, is that it?
Yes.
All right, public forum, opportunity for citizens who are not on the agenda to briefly share comments or concerns. And I thought about this, Luce, you're gonna have to come in as a citizen and not the police if you want to report every meeting.
We have anybody online?
Nobody's
I
with their
don't know
hand.
who we have online, but
No.
Ian, you're front and center in our video, just so you know.
Oh, can you? Darn.
You have to change the tile.
Do
Do you see that?
Yeah, I thought Ian could do that, but
Apparently not.
Under view right here. Go to gallery.
there you go.
Oh, thank goodness.
Hey, you don't know how thankful we are.
Nice.
You're welcome. Annual Police District Public Informational Meeting.
So I didn't think it would take a whole lot of time, so I have a short PowerPoint after we review this and there's no questions. Basically, the PowerPoint is just to show you who your staff are right now.
Oh, great.
But I did want to point out for this proposed budget, it's only a 1.88% increase over the current budget. There's a little confusion somewhere. People were asking me about a 9.6% increase.
I think it's the town, the whole
Yeah, so-
one, right?
Okay,
The
but-
entire town, yeah.
But they were confused because they thought it was the police department. So I just want to make sure that they understand this one is only 1.88% higher than the current budget. And if anybody's got specific questions.
That was actually in the minutes from last week. That was only a 1.88%.
Okay. Well, I had like 3 or 4 people.
Yeah.
Right.
I saw
Probably-
9.6 and I'm
They
like,
probably just got confused when they saw the town number, right?
I don't,
Do we have any questions online? No? They can
I
raise.
mean,
their
this
hand,
is,
right?
this is part of the issue. We try to get public input and so if you have a PowerPoint that you would like to
Yeah.
present, we will.
Ian, it will start by itself when you start it. I mean, when I say, I'm sorry, it won't start by itself. The slides will change on their own after you start it.
You have
I'm going to do it
transition.
Bruce, I'm going to just do it as a PDF because it's easier to present because it doesn't take over my whole computer. Is that okay?
As long as we can see them.
Yeah,
might have-
I didn't know if you had some fancy animations. It won't show those.
Just to save time.
Okay.
The few slides we have are just the staff and their experiences, so you can.
Okay. All right.
First one is mine. I've been a police officer since 1994. I know it's a long time. There have been lots of changes since then, but I worked in Saranac Lake, New York Police Department for 20 years, holding positions of officer, sergeant, and chief. Moved over here, worked at the Addison County Sheriff's Department for a couple of years as a patrol sergeant, and then started in Bristol part-time in 2016, working myself up to full-time and the current position of chief.
Next.
Next, we have Sergeant Andrew Graham, who's been a police officer since 2010. He's from the area. He's worked at the Richmond Police Department, Essex Police Department, Department of Health, and the Vermont Police Academy. He's currently working for us full-time. He still teaches at the academy. He has a few instructor certifications, so we can do training throughout the year, 2 to 3 hours at a time. So we're continually training instead of doing like 8 hours one day and then nothing else for a year. So it's been extremely helpful to have him as an instructor. Besides, it saves us.
You can do that in-house.
Yeah, in-house, and that's right, and that's what we
It's
do.
great.
He still goes to the academy and teaches, and we try to send him on our time, but he's scheduled to work by himself most of the time, so a lot of the teaching he does at the academy is volunteer. Yeah. Next one.
They don't pay him? The
No.
academy doesn't pay him?
No.
Really?
No, if you have an instructor at your police department, you send them down, you're paying for them.
Mm,
Right. So Francis Smith has been a police officer since 2020. He's also a US Marine. He started with the Heinsberg Police Department. He came to our police department in November of 2021. He is one of our death investigators. I am the other death investigator. A couple of our per diem employees have that certification, but they're not available to us that often. And, you know, we're extremely proud, and to remind people is that he was the recipient of the Team 2 Frank Silfies Award for 2024. So, next. We have Amy. She's not an employee of the police department. She's an employee of the town, but she works with us in the police department. Extremely valuable resource. She's also the town health officer for Bristol. So her position is very helpful to us. Some people think it takes the place of a police officer. It doesn't. It just helps us as a police department to provide the services that we do to the community. Next.
Hold on, sorry. I lost my things. There we go.
We call them part-time police officers, but they don't work consistent hours, so it's more per diem. Matt Tatro, who's been a police officer since 2005, he's worked at multiple agencies. He's currently a full-time teacher at the high school. He has worked the most consistent hours for us as a per diem employee. Next. We have Officer Matt Collins, who's been a police officer since 1996. He's worked for Shelburne, UVM. He's the town of Lincoln constable. He's currently working in Shelburne. He has not been able to give us many hours due to their scheduling over there and their staffing level. And his overtime rate over there, he's not coming here when he has,
If he can
when
get
they have,
overtime.
when they have the hours that they need to cover over there for less pay, and it doesn't go towards his retirement, where the overtime over there does. Next.
Yeah.
And Logan Young, unfortunately, didn't have an updated photo. He's another one. He works for the Williston Police Department. He's been a police officer since 2014. For a while, he was able to give us a few hours, but when he was working for the federal agency that he was, but when he went back to the Williston Police Department, it's the same thing. They just don't have the time. And he may be even looking to move out of state. So I think that's it for our police officers, and we do have part-time admin person, Elizabeth Tracy, and she takes care of a lot of our databases that are restricted databases. She has the training to make sure that all of the processes and procedures were following correctly, and she completes the reports for us.
Also a dispatcher for Middlebury PD, isn't she?
Yes, yes, she is. That's
Thank
what we
you.
have. Yeah.
Should do a last call for questions.
Yeah. Anyone have any questions for Bruce or us about the police budget? If I don't see any or hear any, we are going to move on. We will.
I got just a question. I was reading the police log, a couple in Addison, and it said you had some mental health crisis.
Mhm.
It said it's had a police officer, did Amy fall? Does Amy go with that?
It depends on when the call comes in.
Oh.
If she's available, yes. And it depends on the situation. If the person is in an agitated state, then no. We will wait until the situation's calm and she can do follow-up.
Okay, okay. Thank you.
All right, We will close the police informational meeting and move on with our agenda.
Yes, Chief.
Thank you very much, Bruce.
Thank you.
Department head roundtable. Sharon.
Okay, as you know, next Monday is town meeting night and Tuesday is the election. So we're moving along. We've been sending out absentee ballots. And there's been a lot of talk going around on Front Porch Forum on different items. And we have the 2024 audit is completely done. All the adjustments have been made in NEMRIC. So we're starting the 25 audit and the auditors will be here in the middle of March for 3 days. So we'll start uploading that stuff this week to them so we can get a jump on it.
I'm guessing we don't have any unassigned funds.
Good try. Good try. If we do, it's the emergency rate.
Yeah. All right, I don't see Frida.
Nope, she's on.
Is
Yep,
she?
here.
Hi, Frida.
Hello.
Okay.
Just a quick check-in to say very, very good news to report that we've officially received our final payback for all of the FEMA events. Ironically, our last incoming payment was from the 2019 storm event, if you can remember that one. So congratulations to Bristol for having all of those events fully reimbursed and closed. That is a really big deal. So excellent news there. And just a little bit of good news for the highway department. We successfully were one of 4 towns that were awarded. It's a small grant, but it's just some safety equipment for the highway team. So reflective vests and cones and paddles and signage. So, just to help keep them a little bit safer without hurting the budget at all. So that's incoming. We just got the notification email this past week. So that's just nice news. Some equipment they won't have to pay for. And I think that's it for right now. Just got done a lot of reporting for open stuff, and I was looking at our current open grants list, and it is going to be a very exciting and busy year for us, for Bristol. I think we have, ballpark around 15 open grants, which is also really great news for where we first started. So excellent on getting the reins on that. And of those, I think 6 of them have close dates this year. So we will be really busy this year. But it's gonna result in a lot of closed projects and incoming funds. So it's all good news, really.
That's great.
Awesome. Questions for Frida? None? Thank you, Frida.
Thanks, Frida. Thanks.
Thank you.
Recreation, Meredith.
Yeah, so exciting. We have really been getting our building, the Holly Hall, prepared for the renovations. So we got our keys to our satellite office today. So we'll be over at the Thompson building on the 2nd floor. Aiden and Eric pushed back the snow next to Howden Hall so we can get the 40 by 8 container that we're going to store everything into, and that is arriving on Thursday. And then we have the movers coming on Friday, March 6th, and we'll preset most of the things there so it'll be easy for them to get it over to that container. And then the Ben-Hur curtain that is on the stage, that's a historical curtain. So Aiden reached out to Curtains Without Borders, and we found out that we needed to have it, when we take it down, it has to be professionally overseen. So working on that, and so we'll have that being taken down most likely March 5th or actually March 6th. But our plan is we'll be completely out of the Holly Hall by 5 o'clock on Friday, March 6th. Other than that, that's really been the focus of what we're doing. All our camps are full. We have a wait list. Some of the camps, we have wait lists longer than the actual camp numbers we can take. So trying to figure out about adding in a couple extra camps. It just really depends on my schedule. And then, yeah, doing lifeguard class and everybody is, it feels great. We have a great team going on with Dylan, Jackie, Aiden, Motlock. Yeah, it's just been great. So we're pretty excited.
That's great.
Awesome. Questions for Meredith?
I'll just say in terms of timeline, we confirmed today with Silver Maple when things will start happening. Obviously, the two big projects, one at Holly Hall and one at the Lawrence Memorial Library. So most likely mobilization will begin on March 9th in almost both areas, the library and Holly Hall. And then they'll start doing some outside stuff at the library. And then March 16th, they'll be in the library. The last day for the library will be March 10th, and then it will close for maybe 6 to 7 weeks.
Awesome.
Can I add that? So the Holly Hall is scheduled to be closed from March 6th till September 30th. Obviously, if we can get that building back open sooner, that would be amazing. But
That's the plan.
That's the timeline that I've created. But really, I've got an event happening in October 1st, so I'm really like have it on the line there. But I'm excited. I think we've given them plenty of time to accomplish the renovations of the Holly Hall.
Great.
Ian, will anything have to be cleaned out of the library?
Yes,
Like
the
book-
staff are working on that now. There'll be books that'll be moved and various other things. They have a long list that they're going through, but yeah, they're all taking care of that.
They're not putting the books anywhere else to be accessible for anybody during this 6 to 7 weeks. Is that right?
They are.
They'll still be doing programming,
Yeah.
how they handle that is
Yeah.
how they handle that.
That's what I was wondering, if they were gonna be closed, or if they were gonna.
No, they still have programming to
Okay.
patrons all the way through.
They just posted on Front Porch Forum, there's some sort of like lending program that
Oh.
they'll do, but
Yeah.
I mean, very closely. I saw it right before I came in here.
Yeah, there won't be a satellite location, but they'll be able to work. And so the idea is that the Silver Maple gets into the library immediately or as soon as possible, starts doing the interior work, and then when that's completed, hopefully in at least 6 weeks, hopefully less, then they move outside and they do the exterior. The library would open back up to allow patrons in. It's going to be a bit noisy, but at least patrons can be able to use the location.
Great.
Awesome. Anything else, Meredith?
That's it. Yeah, we're good.
All right, questions for Meredith? All right, planning and zoning, AZ. Thank you, Meredith.
Thank you, Maria.
I'm on the agenda for planning stuff, so zoning is going well, it's winter. A lot of people building stuff, but DRB is active and busy. Couple subdivisions in the works, nothing crazy. Did a refresh of the zoning applications, which I'm hoping will streamline the process for folks, and finishing up some reference documents for both the public and also for other town staff. So I'm not a monolith of knowledge. And it's very much planning minded, but that's later in the agenda. So
Mhm.
Awesome. Questions for AZ?
Just a few months ago, you presented. Get what the model was. About. Going, the tax mapping was gonna change.
The parcel-
Yeah,
Oh,
how is that going, or is it?
great. It's all done.
Oh, it is.
Yeah. The parcel viewer is live on the website. I use it every day. I'm directing people to it for just the basic zoning questions of like, what district am I in? I'm like, I'm so glad you asked. Now you can
Okay.
go find it yourself.
Good.
But yeah, it's up on the website. We're up to date on our state mapping. If you go to the Vermont Parcel Viewer website, our little Bristol is now the right teal color. That means that our GIS data is up to date and current,
Good.
which is very exciting. And it took felt like Goldilocks trying to get the right map size, but Are you happy with your max now?
Yes, we have good minutes.
Okay.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. Keep the town-
It's all about
keep-
Sharon.
Keep the town clerk happy, then you've done 2/3 of your job without coming in the door.
That's my goal every day.
Are we're now a tier 2 town, or do we still have for Act 250?
We're,
Or do we still have work to do for that?
we're gonna be a tier one,
Tier,
1B.
okay,
We are. Tier 2, that nothing has changed with that, so anywhere not in the downtown designation district. So basically not within the village core, will still be under tier 2 Act 250 rules. And the land use review board, last I checked in, was still hashing out the tier 3 rules, which would be like the highest environmental protections. And those are still being hashed out, and that also involves, they're doing some changes to the road rules. Like how, if you build a road, I think they were talking about like over
Right.
800 feet, you would get pulled into Act 250, even
Is
if
that
you were.
181?
Yep.
Yep. Reading about,
Yeah.
So in the y'all approved to be a tier 1B, and that allows up to 50 units are exempt from Act 250. They do still have to go through local zoning, they have to get stormwater, or not stormwater, wastewater. So if they're wanting to build a 50 unit building somewhere in Bristol, I would love to see a creative proposal for that.
It'd be a big septic,
It's
right?
gonna be a big septic.
Right.
Yep. So, yes, the town is a 1B jurisdiction, but the likelihood of projects being able to fit with our local zoning, the local infrastructure capacities, and
To be that big.
to be that big is pretty slim, but it does open up some smaller development.
That's great.
and Joel mentioned roads, anything new on Harvey Road?
On Harvey Road, I did find the original survey from 1800. So. I haven't been able to find anything from select board minutes on if.
It was thrown up.
If it was thrown up, but what I did find is I think there was an old Kent road that connected Carlstrom to Harvey Road. Either an old Kent road or just like an old farm access that I think was likely what you remembering being thrown up. And I have found some references to Kent roads, but the original survey description that I found matches perfectly with what Harvey Road is. It had 96 rods of distance, which is roughly 0.31 miles, which is Harvey Road. So I'm feeling pretty confident that we're all good and that Harvey Road is our road. The connector part that I think was thrown up a long ago.
We don't own it anyway, so we
Yeah.
don't care.
We do own.
You have documentation. Well,
Yeah.
good. Thank you.
Mhm.
Any other questions for AZ? Thanks again. Consent agenda. Public assembly permit request for 2026 New Haven Ledges Kayak Race, April 4th. Backup date of April 11th in the New Haven River. Approval of annual certificate of highway mileage, updated. Approval of past meeting minutes, authorizing warrants or liquor or tobacco license, and it could cut on Hartscrabble Road.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Hey, we have a motion and a second. The kayak race is the same as it always is,
As far as I know.
and everybody's happy. You're happy, Bruce? They've met all the,
They've got their insurance.
Right.
They have this insurance policy with us listed.
all right.
Emergency phone.
The annual mileage certificate, we've got that updated, so it's right now.
Schlonier, it's, I kid you not, 0.06 miles of difference. So,
Whatever it takes.
yeah, it's also a road that actually doesn't exist anymore. But it's like it's an old road that just, we've continued to keep the mileage, but.
Not this one, that's one.
Schwanier, I mean, Schwanier ends kind of where the,
Where the turnaround is, yeah.
yeah,
You
but.
start going around the house. around
Yeah.
the barn.
Yeah, but historically that road continued past where the houses are, a little further west, and then it came down south and came into New Haven.
Yeah, it was the old plank road at one point.
Yeah, and
Is that
AOT
bigger?
was just trying to
Point
figure
road.
out where it was, and I thought they weren't gonna do anything with it without a survey, and then they said, we'll do something without a survey.
So
Okay.
if we approve this, do we mean we have to go further plowing?
No, no.
Oh,
no.
okay.
It's more of a correction on their mapping and making it make a little bit more sense, kind of make the lost historical road make modern sense. Hence why
Yeah,
it's,
the remnants of the road are still there. I could show you if you
Yeah,
wanted to see
yeah.
it sometime.
Took a tour over there, took us over 3 years ago, you're gonna put a culvert in there somewhere?
This one, that goes back to your brothers.
Yeah.
Yes. Go feel some.
Okay.
That ain't nice.
Yeah, I remember when we changed the road names, so. Cooks were pretty upset because they lived there longer than Swaniers had been there, and we named it Swanier Road because they were at the end. Meeting minutes,
No, I'm fine.
corrections are all good, warrants. What's the number there?
88 something.
96.
96. Yeah.
$96,301.81.
So we put it up.
Any liquor or tobacco licenses?
Yes, American Legion and Tandem.
Anybody have any problem with either of those or questions?
They all have, well, they all have the same restrictions, because I know, like,
The American Legion has.
they have their
the
outside consumption. Yeah,
Yeah.
what about tandem? Because sometimes
Tandem
they're
does
outside.
too, she gets an outside one as well.
Okay.
But that's separate from their license, or it comes
Yeah, it's
with
a
it?
first and a third, they're both a first and a third, and then of course American Legion has the tobacco ones.
Right.
And then the curb cut on Hardscrabble?
That helps, and we got.
You want the details of that on screen, Peter?
Yes, please.
I can talk to this one. Dave Livingston is subdividing off 5 acres for his son, can't remember which.
I was gonna say Dave Senior. Dave.
Yeah, Dave Senior.
Dave Dad. Dave
Yeah.
Dad.
Off his property, up off Hardscrabble, it's up in the,
On the east
You
side?
make that bigger if you can, because
Is it on the east
it
side?
looks like ants.
yeah, and I talked with Eric today, and Eric bestowed upon me his comments, which I then bestowed upon the paper.
Okay.
And the next, is there a map with that? No. It's the actual access, yeah, there it is.
Yeah.
275 feet from the northern property line, this is like right before that hill, but.
Is this on the west side of the road or the east side?
East.
East side of the road.
The highlighted areas where that
Mhm.
driveway is gonna be. That is a 20-foot driveway, Dave did not give me the specifics, but I couldn't imagine it being any bigger than 20 feet. It's part of his requirements for a subdivision is to have an access, so.
So that's way up on the north end of the property.
Yep, it's literally the farthest north you can be
Yeah.
on the property.
That's on the field, is that the field?
Right at the
Top of the
flat
hill.
on the north where Larry Marcel used to live.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's
So
Larry's
it's
old
distant.
house right there, or Larry's old
Yeah,
property
his
right
house, yeah.
on the corner there.
And Eric went out and looked at it with Dave. Side distances are good both ways. The location of the driveway access is the farthest south you can get, so there is proper side distance, no culvert needed. The usual crushed gravel, all those fun things. Will be a single family residence.
Alright. Any other questions on the consent agenda? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carried. Regular business, town meeting, vote and informational presentation. Ian, would you
Yeah.
like to?
That's the other one.
Oh.
This is the other one. So just pick spot.
Okay. So we haven't done this previously, but since we were ramping up, I thought I'd create a presentation. I'd done one for the local option tax, which we'll do after this, but I thought I'd do one breaking down the all the articles that are at this year's town meeting. And we've had a group of ad hoc, sort of a committee, group of people, volunteers who have been helped spreading the word. Clove, who's on tonight, was kind enough to set a survey out to people. And some of the results of the survey in terms of being able to understand the town report, understand what's happening in terms of the town meeting, talked about presentations and videos and things like that. So it actually is pretty appropriate that we're putting this together. So essentially, town meeting is on March 2nd. That's a floor vote situation, starts at 6 p.m. And then we have paper ballot voting on the next day from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. We tend to say Australian ballot voting. I had a comment from someone who didn't understand what Australian ballot was. And so I'm starting to use the term paper ballot voting because I think more people tend to understand that.
Mhm.
So I'm going to go through just the articles. I'll be succinct and quick, hopefully, unless people have questions. And if you do have questions, I think we can just answer as we go along or put it in the chat. Maybe people can monitor that for me. So we generally open with reports of the town's officers. I would direct people to the town report. It's a hefty document that details everything that happened in 2025. It's very comprehensive. It also contains all of the budget information for 2027. Everything that we're going to be proposing on that night is detailed in the town report. Second item that we'll want to bring to people's attention is the townwide police discussion and the vote. So we did make a plan to commit to having a question on the ballot should the police district become townwide, but we have not delivered on that as a town due to several reasons. The main reason were major staffing changes with our town administrator position in 2025. Our previous town administrator retired at the end of 2024 in December. I took on the interim role for 7 months, and we hired Greg Faust, and he started in August. So that's one of the driving factors. I have been doing research, and research was done throughout the year. And as we put it together, as we spoke and worked with the new town administrator using his experience, we felt that it's a much more nuanced and complex situation than we thought before in terms of expanding it. It's not as much as we'd like it to be a simple question. It's not. So we really feel that voters deserve a better choice than just a yes or a no question. And we want to get a lot more feedback from the community. And that's happened in various ways over the years, but I think we're in a much better position now to do that. We also, hopefully will have, we won't rush to this. And I know that sounds unusual because we've been thinking about this for a long time, but it's also just putting everything in place and working together to do this. So hopefully you'll see a lot more information coming forth in 2026 as we move through that discussion. Article 2 is the officers to be elected. We have 2 select board members who are running again this year, Michelle and Jessica. We usually fill the first constable, Bruce Nason, usually takes that role for us. Thank you. We have our town moderator, Jennifer Wagner. She's running again. Patricia King, she's a current lister. She'd like to be a lister again, just wasn't able to get in before the deadline. So if you wish to write in, Patty, you can. We also have 2 library trustees, 2 positions, Scott and a new person, Sophie, and they're not competing against each other. Those are 2 3-year term positions. And then we have 1 school board member, Michael Dash. He's been doing great work on the school board. He's a personal friend of mine. So I'm a little biased, but he's very good. And he was willing to do it again. So I think that's great that he's willing to do that. I'll speak more about this after this presentation, but this Article 3, which is going to be on paper ballot, similar to the officers on the 3rd instead of a floor vote, this is the local option tax. So this is a 1% tax added on to sales, meals, rooms, and alcohol with the idea that this will be divided amongst three areas: capital infrastructure, climate resilience and emergency preparedness, and economic development. But as I said, I'll speak on that after this presentation. Article 4 is the payment of property taxes. One difference we're having this year is 3 installments instead of 2. This is to help the town balance its funds a little better. It's difficult when you have 2 payments, and so you have large amounts of money coming in and at only 2 times, and it's hard to balance that throughout the year, especially with the number of projects that we have. So we researched and saw that a number of towns have 3 payments, and we're going to try that. Our late payment. Say that again.
Provided it passes.
Yes, correct. We'd like to try that. Late payments for those 3 installments, same as last year. We're proposing 0.75% and 1.25% for the first 3 months, and then 1.25 after 3 months. Now, this interest is only applied to what's owed after each payment for the tax year. And we wanted to let you know that the town of Bristol now accepts credit cards for property taxes. That's new, and we decided that just recently. Article 5 is the late property tax penalty. This always has a lengthy discussion during town meeting, and that's absolutely acceptable. We expect that. Some things that we want to inform people of is that I think a lot of times the late penalty is misunderstood. We've set it at 8, which is the maximum authorized by the state. We fully expect that it will be changed on the floor, which is absolutely fine. But part of this discussion is just making sure that people understand that it's a one-time fee applied to what's not been paid by the final tax payment. So if you pay your first taxes and you only have one left and you're late, that's when the fee gets applied. And it's only on what you have remaining. So with that, we recommend if you pay throughout the year, whatever amount you can, this will help reduce that one-time fee. Currently, it's at 2%, just the same as with the interest. So we're obviously very mindful that some residents find it difficult to pay taxes. In the town report, we have a delinquents tax list so people can see where we're currently at. But we're more than willing to work with anyone with any kind of payment plan, and we accept cash check and now credit card to be able to help pay your taxes.
Joel's got a question for you, Ian.
Absolutely.
On Article 4, what if the voters vote that 3 times, those states down?
Then it
Does
reverses.
it reverse that? No matter?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, it would just default to 2.
Here. Okay, that's all question I had. I thought it was that answered by 100% sure. Thank you.
Sure. Article 6, select board salaries. So average amount that each one of us as select board members earn is about $1,700 per year. We attend about 30 meetings. Sometimes it can be more depending on what's going on in the year. Most of those meetings are about 2 to 3 hours long. I also want people to consider the amount of time that we dedicate to preparing meetings, working on various projects that the town has, working with town staff, town administrator, etc., and also engaging with the public every day and having those kinds of conversations. I think as it says here, we're a good bang for your buck. So now we start getting into budgeting and voting on budgets. So we have a number of budgets within the entire town budget, and the first is the general fund budget. So our general fund budget for FY 2027 is about 1.4 million. Taxes raise about 1.2 million of that. This budget also includes capital funds for building and maintenance, sidewalk, technology, cemetery reserve, conservation reserve, and the reappraisal fund. It's a 13.74 increase over 2026. Part of that increase comes from personnel costs. Our planning and zoning administrator, AZ Larson, and our grant administrator, Frieda Powers, were having their hours increased to 40. They were, at this point, they're 32. They're both doing amazing work for the town, and I think that's very well deserved. Amy Smith, who Bruce spoke about earlier, our community resource specialist, part of the funding for her position was ARPA funding that it's finished. And so now her position is now fully taken on by the general fund. Health insurance costs actually decreased this year, quite surprisingly, as staff members took advantage of health insurance, the subsidy program that we offer, and they enrolled through their spouse's partner's health insurance plans. That actually helps us greatly. Health insurance is a huge cost for the town. So if staff members have the ability to do that, we do welcome that because it does help us with our overall budget. Personnel costs, we've seen increases for FICA Medi, workers' compensation, and VEMRs. And VEMRs is based on our employee salaries and the amounts that those are. We also have large increases for property and casualty insurance. We're increasing accounting fees to accommodate future audits and financial reporting. A lot of our big projects require single audits, which is a separate audit for that particular project. So we're being mindful of that so we don't go over budget.
But if that's a water, that goes over to the special article or special audit for the water department. That was paid, that'd be paid by the water department, not out of taxes, correct?
No.
The audit is town based. It isn't district based.
Okay.
And we also might have, the water project, definitely, and that's the very expensive project. We're also starting to get projects, and I don't think we have any at the moment that'll hit that threshold, but we are doing projects outside of that could hit that threshold at some point.
Well, and just a second, and they're doing an audit of the town, not the water budget.
But if the
The water is what kicks it out, but it's the whole town.
The whole,
Yeah.
I mean,
They
I
also-
pay for.
Well, you also got to figure that we've got money coming for this building and for the library too,
Right.
which is also
Which one?
part of the.
Which one to keep in?
Right.
So our biggest increase to the general fund are a couple of lines. We have building maintenance. Usually that's around 12,000, and we're putting that up to 50,000 this year. This is to pay for deferred maintenance and some major repairs to the building outside of the project that's currently happening this year. That's water damage, window rot. If you walk around the side of the building and look at any of the windows, you'll see a bunch of damage that we haven't taken care of over the last decade or so. We also have some sewer line issues too, or septic line issues that we need to deal with. The biggest increase for the general fund budget is the capital building and maintenance fund. We're putting that up to 120,000 this year, up from 30,000. So it's a pretty large increase. And the reason is because we have two projects this year. We have Holly Hall and we have Lawrence Memorial Library that are getting major renovations. And they'll start, as I said at the top of the meeting, you'll start to see that very soon. We have grants for both of those projects, but they will still dip into the capital building and maintenance fund to pay for the rest of the project. Part of that 120,000, 20,000 of that came from the sidewalk fund. We have a fairly healthy sidewalk fund at the moment. So we agreed to take 20 of the 40 and move that into capital building instead of adding more into capital building, which would increase property taxes. More than likely that'll shift next year and the sidewalk fund will be funded as it usually is. Having this account be healthy is very important because we're also looking at a future public works department building, and we need cash on hand to be able to do design and building and planning for that. Second part of the main town budget, we have the public works budget. Similar numbers to the general fund, 1.4, 1.2. Capital funds within this budget are equipment, paving, and road. This is an 8.77 increase. Again, personnel costs are a driving factor here. We also have services like tree work, usually budgeted 86. We're putting that to 22. Public Works foreman has been working with contractors to figure out better ways, more efficient ways to have hazardous tree work done throughout the town. Usually we contract out and we maybe do a couple of days of tree work here and there. Doesn't really get us ahead with what we want to do. So this is working on a contract that's a week of work that would be able to really tackle a lot of those issues that we have with canopies and things like that. Environmental service line to accommodate DPW's issues that they have with that. Winter materials, again, cost of salt, sand, chloride, all going up. They also take on a new debt service, and this is for the Lathrop property that was purchased last year, or the year before, sorry, on Hewitt Road. And this is the location for a new public works building. So the debt of that goes into this budget. Article 9 is the Arts, Parks, and Recreation. 381,000, raised by taxes 237. The rec department does an amazing job at bringing in a lot of revenue for the town. And their increase this year is only 6.7. small sort of increases throughout the budget. Main ones I want to highlight: Elder Eagles, putting that up to be able to accommodate the new senior services, which is getting more and more popular. 5-Town Riders, local program partnership with mountain biking. We're also investing more in the pottery studio, labor for that, bringing in new contracted labor to support that program. They also have capital reserve funds for their capital recreation equipment facilities. And we established the skate park last year, and we're adding to that as well to keep growing that fund. Fire department budget was a 3.44 increase over 2026. Lawrence Memorial Library was a 2.36. Currently, that's handled by the board, and the full budget breakdown and report is available in the annual town report on page 112. Rescue squad. One change we made a number of months ago for the rescue squad, generally because we're into appropriations now, appropriations are handled and you need to get, if your budget changes yearly, you will need to get signatures, 177 or thereabouts, to be able to make that change. With the rescue squad, because it's an emergency service, we changed it so they do not have to get signatures because of the way they change their funding. More than likely, it might change every year. It happens this year that it's the same as last year, but it might change next year. So we made sure that it was easier for them to be able to put their budget through, given that they're an emergency service.
Yeah, that's also a per capita number. It's not.
Yes.
So if the population changes, it could change as well.
Exactly. Article 13. Again, this is all appropriations. This is the Bristol-based organizations and their appropriations. All of these stay the same as last year. Anything that changes, as I said, during the year gets its own article because that changes from a previous year. Article 14. This is an non-Bristol service. This is the third year that this organization has asked to have their appropriation change, and that's why it's a separate article. It'll move into this article next year unless they need to change it. Article 15 is the non-Bristol based organizations. All of these were the same for last year. So our total civic organization appropriations are $435,000. Accounts for 11.8% of our total budget. Our non-Bristol based organizations are $50,931. And as I said, the majority of these appropriations can increase yearly, and amounts are approved by a floor vote and not by the select board. This was an additional article that we've added this year. It came to us as a petition from local residents. So the voters of Bristol call upon the General Assembly to discuss, take testimony on, and vote on H433 during the 2026 session. So we approved it because it's non-binding and it directly impacts Bristol and the town of Bristol, especially with regarding to healthcare. So if the healthcare care bill can be brought in front of legislators' attention and could improve healthcare costs, that directly affects us as a town. And this was asked to be put on a floor vote versus a paper ballot or Australian ballot, just so it allows discussion. And then Article 17 is any non-binding business. Anyone in the audience is able to bring discussion for everyone to vote on. So wrapping up, again, March 2nd is town meeting starting at 6 p.m. Paper ballot voting is on March 3rd, the next day, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Town report is available on the website as a PDF. We also have printed copies available at the library, at Bristol Beverage, and at the town offices. Bristol Recreation Department, similar to last year, will be offering childcare and pizza down in the basement of Holly Hall. The Masons are offering a dining option starting at 5 p.m. and also their usual snacks and goodies during the meeting. And we encourage everyone to come. It's an important event. It's a great way to meet your neighbors and have great community involvement. There's also a Zoom option. The limitation of Zoom is that you will not have the ability to vote because of, even if you are a resident. And thank you very much.
Well, I'd like to add, just so everybody's aware that last year we rolled the, capital appropriations for each department into the department budget so that you could just take that number and get an accurate number of what you were spending for your highway department, what you were spending for your police department, what you were spending for the general fund. So it includes your reserve funds in those budgets.
The question I was gonna ask, Peter, is, so Article 8, there usually we put 120,000 to paving, in the capital paving. So that's built into that 1.4.
It is, and it's in the list. If you go to the list, it says what
Okay,
we're
because-
putting in.
If for some reason we didn't get to paving, will it still go over there? Cause we're already on a highway
Yeah,
budget.
it's still a cap.
Yeah, it's still going in capital
It's
paving,
still-
and the highway and state statutes, highway,
For anything
yeah,
else.
right,
But I didn't wanna go like Doug used to say, if you don't spend it by July 1,
no,
It's gone.
then it's gone.
no, because it's going into the fund.
It's going into the paving. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Any other questions about that presentation? Thank you, Ian, that was very good.
Thank you.
You want the floor again?
I know. I don't deliberately do this, you know.
No. If I didn't harass you, think something was
All right.
presentation. Ian, surprise.
All right. Okay. So as mentioned, one of our big items this year that's being paper ballot voted that we're offering to the residents is a local option tax. About 30 towns around Vermont have this tax. Middlebury's had it since 2008. So when you go to Middlebury, you are paying that tax automatically. A lot of people probably don't even know that and don't even realize that. So the local option tax is a 1% additional levy on sales tax, meals tax, alcohol tax, which means alcohol beverages when you go out to dinner, and lodging, any rooms. Are estimated based on 2024 figures that if we added this to Bristol and it gets passed, then everyone who comes to Bristol, everyone who lives in Bristol, everyone who comes to Bristol who pays tax in those 4 areas would contribute to this fund. And our estimate based on 2024 numbers is $250,000 for the town. This will come in quarterly amounts, so we'll know very quickly how it's working for us as we get those payments if this passes. But as I said, the revenue comes from anyone shopping, visitors, commuters, residents of nearby towns. Anybody comes to Bristol and makes taxable purchases will be paying a 1% into this fund. And it's not very much. You can think of it as a penny on the dollar. Essentials such as groceries and prescriptions and clothing are exempt. Anything that doesn't have sales tax right now does not have this applied to it. So as I said, 30 Vermont towns use it. They use it in a variety of different ways. Some towns had flood resiliency, others do bicycle and pedestrian improvements, fire and highway department replacement equipment, things like that. But it gives us an opportunity to have another source of funding. We know that property tax, we're very mindful that property taxes go up every single year. We try to keep them as low as we can. We have other entities around us that contribute a lot to the property tax. We feel as a town, we're very good and we're very mindful of our budget. So allowing us to do and collect the local option tax gives us another way to bring money into the town to support the things that need to happen here. So as I said, visitors, commuters, residents of nearby towns and locals. So if you're coming in, you're doing any of the hiking, outdoor recreation, scenic exploring, you're going downtown, you're spending money in stores, you're spending money with eating, you're helping purchase and buy into that and help support Bristol. Anyone who comes for our events, 4th of July, Pocock Rocks, or Harvest Festival, we get thousands of people every single year coming to those events. And that's just on a single day. All of those people will be helping, or a great majority will help support if we have the local option tax available to us. As well as in our stores and our restaurants, things like that. So yeah, 250,000. That's based on sales figures for 2024. On the town website, there are details of how the number we got to the number, and also the details of what the sales data and other information is from the state. So the allocation, and this is after multiple discussions throughout the year, as we sort of worked towards this, three of our main areas that we want to focus on as a town, as a select board, would be capital infrastructure. That includes anything from roads, equipment, new buildings, maintenance, things like that. We want to put a minimum of 40%. Any amount that we bring in for the local option tax, 40% minimum would be put towards capital infrastructure. Second area would be climate resilience and emergency preparedness. We know that we're having issues with the ability to get FEMA funding now. Many towns to the north of us are having issues with that, are not getting support like they used to. And so we see that perhaps as storms and things like that become worse throughout the year, that we would be applying for FEMA and potentially not getting it. And that's going to put us in a bind. Frida, at the top of the meeting in her report, she spoke of only now receiving money from 2019. I can't imagine how long something would take given the current state of the federal government. So we want to put together at least minimum of 20%, putting away money for those events that we need to support and need to change. And then our final part is economic development. We want to put money back in to bringing people here, because the more people we can bring here, the more this is shared amongst the people who live here, as well as anyone coming in to the town. So a minimum of 20%. 40, 20, 20 doesn't add up to 100, but that's because we want to have 20%, so we're flexible. We want to put a little bit more into capital infrastructure or economic development. We have the ability to do that. If we set hard numbers and the voters vote for them, we have to stick to them. So we want to be a little flexible to be able to allow us to be able to move some things around and increase funds if we needed to.
And that flexibility is just between those three choices.
Correct. Yes.
It's not used for something else.
Yeah, that's correct. So capital infrastructure, road resurfacing, bridges, water sewer systems, municipal facilities, heavy equipment replacement. That could be fire department, could be public works department. Many of those vehicles we're into 500,000, 600,000, almost going to $1 million per vehicle. A lot of our capital funds work towards that, and we have long-term, long-range plans, but as each year passes, that stuff becomes more and more expensive. So we want to put towards that. As I said, FEMA, we've used FEMA a lot over the years, and it's looking concerning, to say the least, that it might be something that we wouldn't be able to receive if we did have catastrophic damage to our roads or bridges. So we want to be able to put money away for these areas. And then, as I said, the growth dedicated fund, where we're putting money back in, working with the downtown group, Bristol Core, perhaps, to be able to bring people here, have events, and have a system where throughout the year, we're encouraging people to come here. So it could be downtown vibrancy projects, could be small business support of our main street and surrounding businesses, recreation and tourism. We obviously have a tremendous amount to offer in terms of the outdoors, and it's getting bigger and bigger, and we'll hopefully in the next few years, we'll be expanding that with bigger trails and mountain biking, all sorts of different things. So putting money back into those things to get people to here. Bristol is a destination. I think reading Front Porch Forum and some of the comments, I think there was confusion about visitors paying, but a tremendous amount of visitors come into Bristol every single day, whether you live in Moncton and you're visiting from nearby towns or you're passing through as a tourist. We get, thousands and thousands of people every single year coming to Bristol because it's a destination, and we want to keep that going. So with the rates, these are the current rates, 6% on sales, 9% on rooms and meals, and 10% on alcoholic beverages. They'd increased to 7%, 10%, and 11%. As I said before, medicine, groceries, clothing, essential heating fuels, residential are exempt. There's a full list on the town website of the exemptions, so you can go through them.
Hey, Ian, the
Yeah.
alcoholic, that like, if you go and buy a case of beer, or a bottle of liquor from 802 Spirits, is that included or just?
It is, and it's included under sales tax. Alcoholic beverages are under when you go out to a meal.
Okay.
Yeah. And so I originally I didn't realize that because it's not exactly clear with the materials at the state level. But I talked to businesses around and found out more information. And so the amount that I originally calculated, I was using numbers from Brandon since we are under 10 alcoholic vendors that would report. So the state doesn't get those numbers. So I was using Brandon, who are higher, but about the same size as us, and used a certain calculation using the new numbers where it's coming from if you're going out to a meal. It actually works out to be about the same. So the numbers stay the same. And we'll see. Again, it's just, we have full control as voters over this. If this isn't working for us, then we can make changes. We can also vote to stop it as well. But we want to try it out and we want to see if it works. There's been tremendous success in a lot of different towns in Vermont, and I feel that we should be able to try this and see if it's going to work for Bristol. The timeline would be we'd vote on this next week. Oh, it's coming up fast. And we would send a notice to the Department of Taxes by the end of March. And then we would start July 1st, and we'd receive first revenue from this October 26th. So hopefully, if all goes well, we'll be doing that, and we'll see how much this brings in. And then, yeah, if you go to bristolvt.org/LOT, there's a full page of information about this with various presentations like this one, and also other information that's a little bit more detailed. So hopefully, if you do have questions, that you're answering them there, or you can reach out to Greg Faust, our town administrator, or myself. And I'll continue to post information about this on Front Porch Forum to get the word out there. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Any questions? All right. Thank you, Ian.
Sure.
Water Commissioners, Bristol West Water Line Project Bid Tabulation and Engineer's Recommendation.
So
Sounds
Jill's
like
here. I don't see Steve.
I do.
He's right here.
Oh.
There he's-
Really here.
Boy, that's funny.
Sorry, Steve.
How you doing?
Is he going to come to the table? I want to.
Yeah.
I want to see his beautiful face.
Oh,
Here, you know.
let me sit back. Oh, how's this?
I guess it'll find you eventually.
I do.
You will?
Yeah.
There you go. You're on.
There's your.
Hi, Steve.
Thanks for coming in. It's commenting on your, like you got quite a cut there. I met the same barber. Yeah. So there should be a folder.
He's working on it.
Should be a folder at the top that says Bristol West. Like the third one down, maybe fourth one down.
We're asking an Apple guy.
There it is. Look at it. It's a slow computer.
No.
Just cutting in on here.
Yeah, just so we can get to it.
He's used to Apple. He didn't.
There you go. the
There's
D.
D drive
Yeah,
there.
D drive.
We got a pair of.
Should be a Bristol West fourth one down. There you go. And then there should be one that says nope. Put a bid evaluation, sorry. Oh, folder,
The top
yeah.
folder.
And then there should be one, go down one. There you go.
Hey.
No, now you're gonna have to minimize all that and
Did-
figure
I
out
don't know
how
if-
to share it.
Greg, did you send everybody the report he sent to you or no? Okay.
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna try to make this quick. This just kind of summarizes the, oops.
Yeah, you can't do it that way. You have to do it in Zoom. So
From Zoom.
if you click back into Zoom, see the button at the bottom, the blue tab at the bottom in Zoom. So see the share, the green share. Yeah, yeah. And then you should be able to select it. See
Right there.
second one
Yeah,
on the-
there you go.
Yeah.
You're gonna be a Windows guy before it's done.
And it'll pull up. And
You guys, I realize,
Screen bigger.
yeah, anyone over 40. Me.
so you're.
Just under 10,000. Yeah.
There you go, there you go. Ian, can you see that?
And then just click down here, that last
I
one.
think
yeah.
you said, yeah, you're
There you
muted.
go.
Sorry, yeah, that looks fine. You should be able to just hit present and then or go through it as a, there we go.
Yep, it's ready.
Okay, you guys, I also brought some handouts and I blew these up because there's so many numbers in here, it's hard to see, all right? So I'm gonna hand you guys this and you can kind of share if you don't mind.
Yeah.
And I've got another one and you can.
Okay, so this side will be over
You can
here.
all look at this
Okay.
together. And Ian, I'm sorry, I have one we can email to you. Because it may be easier than what you're gonna try to look at when we get into the numbers.
Is that page?
Yeah, I just folded it over. So you guys could- All right, it's one page. Yeah, if I give it to you on 11 by 17, you're not gonna see it.
Oh, no.
I tried that today. Here we go. So as you realize, this is about the Bristol West Water Line Replacement Project, obviously. So we officially advertised this on the 31st of December, all right? New Year's Eve. Sorry, I should have said 25, not 26. Pre-bid meeting was held on 1/22. I know Greg and Ian were both here for that. Bids were due on the 12th of February. And what you folks have in front of you, and we'll get to the numbers in a little bit here, is essentially a summary of what came in, but you can jump to the next slide. We had 9 bidders that came in and actually submitted bids, so it was great. Like I said, so public bid opening occurred right after submittal, so right, bids were due at 1 o'clock. We came into this room, all the bidders that submitted a bid came in, we did it publicly. I think Joel actually showed up for some of that too, thank you. So some of the things that were required in their bid packages, right? We had some very specific items, and if you didn't submit those in your sealed bid, right? Because we're using federal rules here. There's some very specific things you need to have. They consider it not a complete bid, and we're gonna get into that in a minute because we had a couple of people that didn't submit everything they were supposed to. Okay, next slide, please. Like I said, 9 sealed bids. I can't read over on the side there, but we had 2 bid packages that were missing the DDE information. DDE information is disadvantaged business information. So again, when you're using EPA money, which we are, you guys are borrowing money from EPA indirectly through the state for this project. You have to follow all of the federal requirements, which include disadvantaged business enterprise stuff, right? So essentially, Greg and I and Ian got together and we came up with, and Jill, I think, was involved in this too. The state has a list of disadvantaged business enterprises. We went in, picked out the ones that seemed like they had a reasonable match as subcontractors on this project. I think there were 8 that we submitted information to. And said, hey, this project's coming up. It's just a pre-announcement, right? This project's coming up. If you have an interest in participating in this project, please let us know. We had 2 firms that replied. All of that information got sent out to the bidders that said, hey, we've got these 2 disadvantaged business enterprises. And what they have a whole, I believe it's a 6-step process that they have to go through, right? In terms of contacting the DDEs. And if they don't do that and they don't have documentation of doing that, they consider this a non-complete bid, okay? So if they submit a bid, it's just got numbers in it and all of that information isn't with it. We had 2 contractors that did that. And the unfortunate part is, and I told everybody in the pre-bid meeting, and the 2 contractors that didn't submit it, one was in the pre-bid meeting and the other requested a copy of the video from the pre-bid meeting. So they all got the information and it all came out also in a written format. And I was very clear in there. Here's everything that needs to be in your bid package. So the 2 that you see here, didn't submit those. Go to the next slide.
The 2 red ones?
The 2 red ones, correct. So what we did, next slide, please. What we did when we, and here's a copy. And Ian, I'm sorry, you're not gonna be able to make heads or tails of this from where you're sitting. But basically the 2 pink bidders are the bidders that we did not receive information from. So the folks that were here, remember, we essentially decided, we had the state on the phone as well. We said, okay, they don't appear to have submitted this with their bid packages. We said, okay, we're gonna read the numbers out loud anyway, and then we're gonna go back and evaluate whether or not this should have been a legitimate bid and whether we can include it. Fortunately, it ended up being an academic exercise because neither one of them was the apparent low bidder. But it would have been disappointing if we had a business like Munson, let's say, who's gonna be your apparent low bidder here, that submitted a bid that we had to disqualify. So it turned out to be okay, but anyway, I had a long conversation, a meeting with Cindy, Parks from the state of Vermont. After the opening, we went through all of that in detail. I sent her all of the information that was in the bids. And she agreed. She said, yeah, this shouldn't have been, we shouldn't have considered those, but I included the information. I think it's helpful. It's certainly helpful for me, and I think it's gonna be helpful for you guys as we move forward. I like to use, when we're putting together the cost estimates, it's great to have an average of a bunch of bidders, right? So that we're not, the last thing we wanna do is underestimate when we're planning what it's gonna take to do a project. And I think having the averages is great. You know, you wanna be on the low end, you don't wanna be on the high end, you wanna be somewhere in the middle. So I did obviously a spreadsheet. I put everybody's information to here when we finished. Next slide, please. Munson Earth Moving was the apparent low bidder. I'm gonna use round numbers here, right? But around 2.4 million, right? We're almost 20% below what my engineering estimate was. Next slide. So we checked everything for mathematical accuracy. We had one bid that did not add up correctly. And you can see that's over here. It's the one in red, and Ian's doesn't have it in front of him anymore, but again, that is academic because they ended up being, you know, way out there in terms of what the number was. But the corrected number is in the bid tabulation. Next slide, please. And we checked for, you know, were the bids balanced. So essentially, you know, what we're looking for is something in the bid that might give a bidder a certain advantage and you guys a disadvantage at the end of the day, right? So in other words, well, mathematically one, right? It's a lump sum or unit price bid, which does not reflect the actual cost plus a reasonable portion of share of the bidder's anticipated profit and overhead, okay? So if I think something should cost X and they submit a number that's way out of bounds, that would generally be a red flag for me to go look at and say, okay, did I miss something? Did something go on? Same thing with the material unbalanced bid, right? So let's say I made a mistake, and I had a typo in here and we had 100 valves. And I accidentally put in 10, right? And, you know, exaggerated, the bidder might go in and say, I'm gonna bid $1 on all of the items except for valves, and I'm gonna put in $100,000 for each one of the valves, right? And at the end of the day, we'd look at his bid and we'd say, geez, he's a low bidder. But if I hadn't screwed up, what you're gonna find out is it's really gonna cost you $10 million instead of, you know what I mean, 3 by the time we pay for those. So those are the kind of things we're looking for, right? So the only thing that jumped out at me really was traffic control in this case. I had estimated traffic control at about $270,000 because one of the things that we asked for was to have full-time traffic control and do this project. It worked out really, really well for us on Pine Street. It reduced the number of complaints we got by 80 or 90% because there was a human being there to talk to every one of the individuals that had, you know, we shut the street down to block to block as we move along, and we're gonna do the same kind of thing here. There was a human being there to talk to every person that needed to get to their house. The elderly people that had to get the groceries in, somebody that needs to leave for work at 7 in the morning. All of the things that you guys otherwise are gonna be getting phone calls about, right? All the little logistical, or how do I get here, or how do I get there? You know, the road's closed. It made all of the difference, in my opinion, in terms of how the public perceived this project when we were done with Pine Street, right? We have all sorts of compliments from people on how nice people were, how polite people were. Everybody, you know, was put out by that project who lived on that street, but almost without exception. I think we had one exception to that. Almost everybody was appreciative of the project again, and I contribute a lot of that, or attribute a lot of that to the traffic control folks over there. So there was a huge difference in the number. I suspect, I don't know this because I haven't had an in-depth conversation with Munson yet, but I suspect that their goal, because I don't see how you can do that for $50,000. None of the other bids were anywhere near that, right?
See that.
The average of the bids was 269,000. I included Munson in that. So if you took Munson out of that and looked at the average of the other bidders, it's probably closer to 300. And that's a reflection of time. You know, the traffic control folks that Munson is hiring accidentally sent me their bid numbers in the middle of this, and essentially, you know, 2 traffic control folks is $100 an hour plus travel time each morning. So call it $1,200 a day, and we've got at least 300 construction days built into this. So I'm not quite sure how they're gonna do this, but at the end of the day, you know, a lot of bidders put profit in different items. You know what I mean? They might say, hey, I'm gonna take a loss on this item, but I'm gonna make money over here. And you guys have a this is one of the things that made me feel good about this. I'm like, you guys are gonna get a performance bond from them for the amount of the project. So they're gonna put up a bond. And a bonding agency is gonna guarantee that that project's gonna get built, or you're gonna take the bond and you're gonna finish it with somebody else, you know, with their money. So there really isn't any risk in it for you. You know, that's the beauty of the bond, right? You're pretty limited on risk. If they get halfway through this and they say, we're losing money, which they're not gonna do because the bonding agency is gonna drop them like a hot potato if they do that. That would be a big deal, but you have the ability to go back on the bond at that point. You finish the project.
I see that, and that, I believe 2 years ago, 3 years ago, we did Punch Street, it was the same thing. J.A. McDonald or somebody was way up.
Yeah.
And they said,
It was,
Hartford.
I don't know.
Hartford. But could we, I mean, they could spend that 49.5 just, if they're not going to close West Street down on the light
Correct.
to Maple Street, that's gotta be one-way traffic and.
Even closing the other streets, I mean, one of the things that we gave in terms of guidance during the pre-bid meeting was that we wanted traffic control people here full-time. So we're gonna have that discussion once, you know, they're supposed to put together, quickly, they're gonna put together, a phasing plan. So we'll know what their plan is. It won't necessarily be a schedule, but it'll be, okay, in 2026, we're gonna do these 5 streets or whatever. And that's our goal in this order. And then we'll get into a schedule, a much more detailed schedule, but that'll give us a good idea of what the plan is, so. And we'll come back with that in a couple of weeks, so. Next slide, please.
Hey, Steve, one question about that. So given that their cost was so low, they're fully aware of our requirements for traffic control, correct?
Yeah, you sat through the pre-bid, did you?
Yeah, no, I know. So, okay, I just want to be clear on that. I don't want to get to a point where we go out there and we start to see that there's nobody doing that.
Yeah, no, and they could be using some of their own people for part of
Yeah.
this too.
That's
So,
true.
know that, they could be bringing in internal people for, you know, the side streets, for instance. I don't
Yeah.
know.
Okay.
you know, they could have just a couple extra laborers on the job and just roll them around.
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, and as long
So-
as they're doing what we would like them to do, then I guess that's fine. That's their choice.
Yeah, I haven't been able to have that in-depth conversation with them yet, Ian.
Yeah.
Once we get to the point of you folks saying, yes, we want to award the project for them, I'll get to all those conversations, so.
Perfect.
They did provide a bond. It was underwritten by Frankenmuth Insurance Company. They have, you know, A ratings for everything according to Best Rating Company. I reached out to Frankenmuth. I spoke to one of their folks. Munson is in fact a client of theirs, and they did legally submit the bond for this project. So it's a valid bond. The DVEs, I've kind of already explained this about the DVEs. I think we can skip this. But by the way, one other thing about the DVEs, I did put together a separate report for the state about the DVE process. It's pretty hefty. I've sent that to Cindy already for review. It's drafted, but it'll take care of all your audit requirements and all of the things the state's going to ask us for. The summary that I gave you in the earlier report is a little thin from their perspective, right? It's all of the documentation. Here are all of the emails that were sent out. There's all the people that were contacted, when, where, and how. So, yeah, so if you folks accept this bid, the bid is, for all intents and purposes, $600,000 underneath my estimate, okay? The next lowest bid came in almost right on my estimate. And everybody else was from there on up. You got an incredibly low bid, right? And this is a gift from the town's perspective, and I'd like to think to some degree, it's about a lot of the legwork all of us did on this project to get the folks involved. The more competition you have, and I've been saying that to you guys right along, right? And the time of year that we bid this is critical, right? We bid it at the perfect time. People are hungry. They're looking for work. They want to line things up, especially with a 2-year project, right? And it went, and everybody here, I would poke Ian and Greg and Jill, and everybody was great. And Sharon, everybody was great about keeping things moving along and getting information and so that we could make that time. So, I did a little summary for you guys, and I had done this before. What I did is I took, the original engineering numbers, and my numbers are actually a little bit lower than that. We're done with all of the engineering work. I think we're 8 or 10%, whatever it is, 8 or 10% underneath that. The construction numbers, I put in Munson's bid. So you folks passed a bond, if you remember, for 3.95 million.
Yeah.
Right, just under $4 million. So if you, can you bring that up just a little bit so we can see the bottom line number? Yep, there we go. Thank you.
You didn't do what you asked.
Couldn't bring it up.
We could-
It still worked, right?
Screen, so there's only one person on that little square.
So if we add in all of the engineering construction oversight plus Jill's time. Whoops, sorry. Can you go
Did you, I think
backward
you might
one?
have stopped sharing.
Ian's touching stuff.
No, I am not. Don't you dare.
Thing back, I was gonna.
Yeah, you
say,
just gotta
it's back
scroll that
down,
line,
maybe just
scroll
watch
that line
it.
down and.
Yes, he stopped sharing.
Yeah, you can.
So.
No?
You can go,
Scroll that.
Ian's
scroll
going
that
right
black
on the
one
wheel bus
down
there.
and Get your last,
You can just drag that down if you want. But anyway.
hey, get to your last slide and
Click
should
on
be,
it.
then click on it.
Should be that one right there.
Yeah.
See, it's more difficult than it looks, huh?
It can't be. I gave technical support again.
He's IT.
So, my original estimate, you guys came in right on 3.95 million, surprise, right? So, I mean, essentially what this shows you is your 600,000, assuming things go as
As
predicted.
planned.
Yeah, and I put $150,000 contingency on top of Munson's bid.
Mhm.
It doesn't mean that we couldn't be digging along and find King Tut's tomb, right? Exactly.
That boy,
You
it
love
looks
him.
like jail.
Right, but
Generally, that look is a good one.
But short of something totally unforeseen, I think we've got enough money in here with a contingency. We're gonna spend some contingency money, right? I mean, there's 120 years of infrastructure in the ground. We're gonna find things we didn't expect, we don't know is there. There are gonna be some extras, but the goal is to try to hold those to a minimum, right?
Under your bones.
So no matter what, you've got plenty of padding, if you want to think about it that way, to be able to do this. And I mean, it's great news. We're $600,000 under what our estimate was or thought we were gonna be.
That is great.
Yeah, it's
And you
things
said
don't
that-
happen like that every day, so.
You said that they got a bond and they got approved for a bond, so they'd have to. If they walked away from it, and said, we can't do this, we just don't.
So what they submitted to you was a bid bond. So bid bond is different than a performance bond. So bid bond just means if they walked away today and they said, oh my God, we missed something in the bid because our bid was so low. You take the bid bond, right?
So we don't get 2.4, but then we couldn't even hire somebody to finish the project then, right?
But what's gonna happen in the next 2 weeks is they're going to submit a performance bond. Okay, and the performance bond is gonna be for the entire amount of the contract. It's different than a bid bond. So the performance bond essentially says they're gonna guarantee they call it an insurance company, right?
Yeah.
And the bonding company is going to guarantee that bid amount of 2.4 million to do your project. So anytime between now and the time this project is signed off on as done and final, you can go after their bid bond or their performance bond. If they walked away and didn't finish 2 streets or whatever, they went bankrupt or whatever the case might be, you'd go back on the bond and you'd say, okay, we're gonna take as much money as we need out of that bond to finish the project. Okay? And that's what I mean, your risk in this, because of the bonds, is pretty minimal.
Hey, Steve. Is the construction schedule really 609 days?
If you take out the winter shutdown, yes.
Oh, okay. So you're not including the
Oh, I
like-
think if you take out weekends and the winter shutdown, we're about 300 construction days.
Okay, I thought it looked like it was double.
Those are calendar days, so, the plan is
2
to,
years, right?
the plan is to shut down in mid-November and not start back up again until mid-April or 1st of May.
Okay, I just was a little concerned because that's a lot of days to be out in the field.
Yeah. Yeah, and if you take weekends off from that, Jill, it turns out to roughly 300 construction days.
Okay, that makes way more sense.
Yeah. Next slide. So, based on the information, it's my recommendation, that you folks award this project months. Next. Questions and discussion. I just want to thank everybody, because everybody's sitting at this table, whether you understand it or not, has played a part, and even a bunch of folks sitting behind me, and Jill on the other end, and Ian, going all the way back to Valerie and Greg. It's, sometimes it's, and I realize everybody's being pulled in other directions, and no matter, I'd say, hey, I have to get this in today, and there has been hoop after hoop after hoop after hoop to jump through. It's been great, and we couldn't have gotten here without everybody pulling together as a team to get to this point, so. The other thing I think, Jill, it's probably worth talking about, and Ian, is the lead service line funding. I think this is a good opportunity to talk about that if you want to mention that.
So stop
You
screen
stop
sharing.
sharing.
Oh, you stopped sharing?
The red, do you see the red stop share? Yeah, that one.
You guys there?
There you go. Now you can see them.
Yeah.
Can you hear us?
You mean
Yep.
the fact that this project is eligible for that 50% subsidy?
Right.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
So we originally, and I'll just make segue into this, Jill. So we originally budgeted this to use DWSRF funds, right?
Mhm.
And Ian will explain the whole funding process, but essentially, we budgeted this at about $4 million, and the assumption at the time was that the entire $4 million was gonna have to be paid back locally, right?
Mhm.
Over the course of 30 years. Go ahead, Ian and Jill.
Right. So DWSRF, we borrow money, we borrow money from them, we get paid back, and then they calculate what our bond will be. And using their handy dandy spreadsheet, we can calculate what the payment might be over the number of years that we're going to pay back. So for Bristol West, we were calculating it to be about 174,000. That would be our yearly debt added to the water district. With this new information that's come to us, and we've had plenty of conversations about this at the state level, they're using other pools of money to support this project, and those other pools allow us to get forgiveness. So the forgiveness that we weren't going to get originally seems to be coming our way. And again, we've all been burned by this on a couple of occasions, so we're all very hesitant about this, and we all have PTSD. But at the moment, it looks very, very positive. We're receiving notifications from the state that we will indeed be able to get 50% forgiveness, something that we couldn't have gotten before. We were planning to get 50% for Bristol East and Rockydale, because we would have. One of the issues is that we don't have enough debt. Even though it seems like we have a lot of debt, we don't have enough. And the more you get, the more eligible you become. So the fact that we can perhaps half that 174,000 a year is fantastic. It means that water prices and water district users aren't going to be paying as much as we had thought they were going to be paying, which is good. I'm one of those people, and I'm glad that that's happening. Costs are going to go up. We have a 110-year-old or 105-year-old water pipes in the ground that need to be replaced. And so it's very good. And also too, having the bid come in from Munson at the price that they gave to us also benefits us, because it means that we're not taking as much of that DWSRF money as we do this project. So that's hugely beneficial as well. And the less money we take, the less interest is added to that. So the structure is that it's going to be 30 years, and we would have 50% forgiveness, and there's a 2% admin fee, which is essentially an interest fee, and that's charged for the 30 years. So again, the less money we take, the less admin fee we have to pay over that 30 years. So it's all very, very positive, and we'll keep everyone, the public, apprised as we move forward on this.
I will provide one more clarification, was that we've all got, like Ian said, and we mentioned this to the state as well, as that I think all of us have PTSD from the last two projects and sort of this lack of willingness to fully trust. So we said, how will we know that we really, really got it? And they said, what happened with Pine Street is that we didn't technically get our loan agreement until after the project. And in this particular case, we will have our loan agreement before the project. So the loan agreement with our signature is what locks it in. So it kind of gives me a better feeling, like once we see that loan agreement, which I know we submitted all the documents that they requested. So it's now on them to do the loan agreement. I know the bond bank is meeting, I think, March 26th, and hopefully they've got all the information. And once the bond bank says yes, the state can give us the loan agreement. So we're within a month and a couple days of getting an answer and a loan agreement, which is also pretty exciting.
Yeah, and there seems to be a renewed uh I guess excitement at the state level in terms of working with towns. We've previously felt kind of more adversarial, I guess, with departments, and it's comes with changeover of personnel and things like that. But now, you know, from the meetings that we've had together, Jill, Steve, Greg, and myself, like there seems like there's been a change, and maybe because of this new pool of money that's opened up, it's offering, you know, more out there for towns to contribute in or to take part in. So maybe that's part of that, and so we hope that continues. I mean, that's what we've always wanted from these projects. They're telling us the money's there. They're essentially telling us that these things need to be replaced, and we're more than willing to do that. So hopefully this continues and we're able to do that.
Yeah, thank you. And I got the same feeling. They're trying to help us use this money.
Yes. Yeah, which is great. It's just what we need.
And I think, Greg, I think all of the documents or have been submitted at this point or will
We're
be.
just waiting on the last bond council letter that the lawyers drafted up.
Right.
And I'll have that over this week.
Still Sharon tells me that you got the check from the state for 50% of the water proposal. It's been deposited. I'll feel a lot better. Treasurer tells me that. I walked with that guy, you and I did on Fun Street 3 years ago. Oh, yeah, this is, yeah, you're gonna get 50%.
Well, so actually what happens is they reimburse you for all of your costs. It's that when they close the loan, they're going to eat half of that and only bill you for a loan of half.
Yeah.
You guys are welcome to have some paper if you want. I'll take one. You're welcome if you want. Like, you can't read the 11/17. I've got them. Somebody wants them, but you can't read them. So.
I don't know, I think there's a special class for engineers on how to fold paper. I've never been able to fold a set of plans after that yet. I usually roll them.
Roll them out, right?
No, you make a good point. I mean, here was the next level fit. And I'm just gonna pick a number up here for something. Munson bid 163,000, and they bid 89,000. So there's $73,000 difference there. And that's when
It's a game. It's a game.
Traffic was
Yeah.
180, not more than 50 back.
But they're gonna make money and we stay under budget, it's all good.
Yeah, that's, I mean, you know, our job, all of us collectively, is to find the most qualified contractor, at the absolute lowest price.
Right.
Keep the price down for the ratepayers. And I think.
And it's
We've
not
really done
like,
it here.
it's not like Munson doesn't know us and we don't know
Yeah.
them. They've done all the major water projects. I mean, way back in
When they did
90, they did
didn't
the
they do
river
the river
crossing.
crossing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they did the line down from the reservoir.
Yeah,
So-
down to East Street.
Yeah.
Which is probably why they felt comfortable being.
They know the soil.
Because they have
They
an
know the soil.
unbelievable working history. They know they don't have to do certain screening procedures as much as
Yeah.
an outfit out of New Hampshire would,
Yeah.
who's never been on site. So there's advantages of having that really.
Yeah.
And that's why we're getting a good bid.
So I would entertain a motion.
I make a motion, we go with Munson. Recommendation you follow.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carried.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Fantastic, Steve. Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Are you here with questions on the water line, wondering what's gonna happen with yours?
I came for the town meeting,
Oh, okay.
Oh, right.
but of course, this piqued my interest and,
I
I suspect I'm
stayed.
not the only town person that's, grateful for what, seems to be transpiring.
Yeah, well, I think it just did transpire. You know, I probably should say too, we are gonna have collectively, an open meeting and we'll invite all the folks like we did on Pine Street who live along these streets to come. Munson's gonna attend with us. And they'll be able to answer their questions in terms of at least rough timing. You know, I'm not gonna be able to answer the questions of how do I get it out of my driveway.
What day is my driveway gonna be dug up?
Right,
So like
rough timing,
overall
but, you
impact
know,
and, yeah, timing.
By,
It's pretty invasive, it
by,
is.
within a month though, you should probably they'll give you a list of streets they're gonna do this year.
We should have a phasing plan in the next week, so
Right.
at least we'll have a sense of.
Cause I know your concern was getting through that intersection, not on the July 3rd.
Right. Yeah, that's not happening.
No.
So, thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, Peeker. Can I just confirm within that motion that allows Greg to sign everything that's necessary for the contracts?
Like I said.
Absolutely.
Okay, good. Thank you.
We don't want our names on it.
Steve,
Steve, you want your flash, right?
your flashlight.
Thank you.
All right. Moving on, West Street sidewalks, scoping, preferred alternative.
Hello. Ian, do you have a
Yeah.
PDF? Okay,
Yeah.
great. It'll be helpful with a visual.
Got that up.
From VHB to answer any follow-up questions with more detail.
This is the one you had emailed us, right?
Yep.
Okay, good.
Yep, so this is the preferred
No,
alternative.
bigger, not smaller.
All right, hold on. Let me just
Sorry.
redraw it.
I guess let's start at the west and move east, Ian.
So start at the
Creamy
creamy
stand.
Start at the-
Getting there. I was like, which way's west? God, that's not good. Okay.
So I wanted to bring this to the select board just to review and make sure everyone's on the same page.
That's great. I'm glad we're moving that crosswalk. That thing is so
Oh, you
dangerous.
tried out. Did you read
Yeah.
the comments?
Yeah, but
He said he's gonna fight that tooth and nail.
Do we need to go right there? Can we move further west with the crosswalk? The crosswalk doesn't have to be right at the corner of that street.
I mean, I don't want to speak on the specifics of design things. I'll let Evan handle that, but from our discussions, a priority was preventing further tree removal, avoiding utility conflicts. There is Evan needs to be unmuted, Ian.
Sorry.
And also when people try to back that
Yep.
lot, you don't want the crosswalk.
There's also a storm drain right to the
Yeah.
west of that sidewalk, so there's a lot of infrastructure considerations, both gray and green infrastructure if we're talking about trees. Also just realized that Joel's gone. But so that sidewalk relocation would improve pedestrian safety overall, vehicle safety. I know Joel's mentioning that when you try to turn left off Maple, you can't see anyone.
You can't.
And then you're
it's really
crawling
dangerous.
into the crosswalk on Maple, so moving this location would improve pedestrian safety. Evan, if you wanna speak on more of the more detailed specifications on why moving this sidewalk crossing would be beneficial, I would welcome that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and maybe just a step back, the constraints that keep us in this spot, we can't go further west unless we go really far west. The state won't let us do a crosswalk that's not at the intersection, but is still close to the intersection. They kind of want at the intersection or middle of the block, not really in between.
Could we do an angle?
Like,
Just to shove the south end further west?
Yeah, but you're
I'm
still getting
guessing
in water.
Yeah, well,
yeah, I mean, I'd have to add up how many extra feet that would make the crossing. They usually want to see the shortest crossing. And if we can avoid still the storm drain that's down there, I think that might be just to the west and stimmy us from doing that.
The hoops on that. Our right of way, where the sidewalk is, we're within our right of way, right?
Correct.
Right, the new sidewalk we're gonna put in. I know this gentleman was concerned about backing out and whatever. I mean, he's got enough room in his driveway.
Yeah,
That's, he can turn around.
yeah.
But I'm just trying to figure out, can we actually do this?
To
With that,
remove his-
remove that
his
second access. I mean, I don't know if he's got, I mean, that house has been there long enough, there's probably not a driveway access permit issue.
Yeah.
So,
That's so
Yeah.
select. Evan, if you wanna take that. You can.
Yeah,
speak.
I mean, as shown, definitely, it's all within your right of way, and it's a pretty common situation that driveways get narrowed, redone, moved, shifted. You don't get two of them. It's ultimately within your your powers to adjust the rules on that, as long as he's provided adequate access.
yeah.
I mean, now we wouldn't approve of having it U-shaped with two entrances onto that highway.
I used to plow that property and we only plowed the main driveway. We didn't plow that side.
Right.
Never.
And
I think
also
he just doesn't
the,
wanna give it up.
the state also doesn't really enjoy a U-shaped driveway and that being on such a busy,
Main road.
a main
right,
road.
Right.
I mean, I will say that, Ben's comments, I understand the not wanting to give up this curb cut, but he is the owner of 39, 35, and 31. And 35 has a significant, driveway, which is directly to the east of 39.
Oh, right, that big
West.
thing that we can see right there.
Yep.
Okay.
So, and that's also another reason why I wanted to bring this preferred alternative to the select board was just to address some comments as a collective. Me as the NPM, y'all as the authority. And then with Evan to back up. And I reached out to Ben, because he actually reached out to Valerie back in 2023. Asking if we're gonna extend that sidewalk. And considering he has 3 properties within the project area, I wanted to reach out. Just as we come to a wrapping of the scoping study, just to make sure that we weren't missing anything big that would hit us in the design and engineering phase. And so that's why I reached out to him, and his feedback, I think, poses some good questions that are good to have answers to.
To Michelle's question about the right of way is where it slants back towards the south, I'll call it. And then that in the left or the right hand corner of this.
Right by the creamy stand?
No.
Or you're trying the other side?
No,
Going west.
Okay.
Going east. and
Going
west.
east, yeah.
Yep.
Where it changes color of the sidewalk.
yep,
Mhm.
so
Is that in the right of way? No? Or yes?
our right of way is pretty big. It varies along the project location, but at a minimum, it should be 4 rods or 66 feet. From the
Oh.
center, so
Oh,
about 33
33.
feet from the
Okay.
center line, so we
Okay.
have a significant amount of room.
'Cause
Yep, and the reason why that new section is as close to the road is because we don't wanna encroach on 39. It's a pretty
Yeah.
tight area
Right.
already.
Yeah, I understand that. I just didn't know if the one sling
Yeah.
is still within the 33 feet.
Yep, the existing sidewalk is like just on the border of the right of way. So this new connection would bring safe pedestrian crossing from the existing sidewalk all the way to the creamy stand. Does have some impacts on the property owner there. But overall, I think this alternative of moving the crosswalk makes the state a little happier with us. Provides a safer pedestrian connection, brings people to the creamy stand, avoids a lot of extensive utility moving. One of Ben's comments was that there's a utility pole kind of in that island
Right.
between the 2 entrances. And Evan and I talked about that, and it is called out in other alternatives as a potential impact. And with this design, that utility pole wouldn't have to be moved. Some of the guy wires that support that pole may have to be adjusted slightly. So it's not a no impact, it's a low impact. But the potential stormwater would be the bigger impact there. So if there's any other questions here, we can move to the east.
Yeah, I have a couple things. I think this is good. I mean, we obviously want it. The town is very mindful of working with property owners. You know, the idea is that we're working in unison with them. Obviously, this is going to make a change for this particular driveway, but I think, as AZ said, having it be more up to state code, I think, is always good. And also, too, putting in a sidewalk along that property for the full length, even though a driveway might need to be taken away, or an entrance might need to be taken away, you're still putting in a sidewalk and you're making it safer for anyone living or renting that space and that building. So there are a lot of benefits to that. We did look at the other area where it currently is, and the idea of taking down that tree. And so that still could be a possibility if it's something where it's very important. But I think because of our policy with regarding dual entrances for driveways and the state, I think we have a very good reason why we would want to put it on the other side. You know, Aiden and I walked it beginning of this week, or no, last week, sorry, and walked through the whole thing, and it looks very good. I mean, this design and having it right there provides you ample sight distance both ways. So it's a very good place for it.
And I'm just gonna bring this up, and this may create a hassle, but Mr. Lyons, we gave him 2 entrances. Granted, they were on 2 different roads, and we
Correct.
just approved a driveway access, an additional driveway access for the person that lives on the corner of Plank and North Street.
Yep.
So you can't say we don't do 2
They're on
entrances.
different roads, so.
Oh, yeah, but it's still 2 entrances.
No.
Two
A
driveways.
U-shape is,
Yeah,
I
my
think, the specific
understanding
of.
was the
You
U
said
Yeah.
it.
that comes out onto the same
Mhm.
road. Or
Well, I'm
that's
not,
what
I'm just
Eric- that's
saying,
what Eric
I'm
was-
just
Yeah,
saying. that-
each, I mean, we try not to do that, but I mean, every situation is different, obviously. And this has been established for a long time, but you know, there needs to be updates to the sidewalk here. And, you know, appears to be the best option that we have so far.
Yeah, I'm not arguing, I'm just bringing it up that
Yep.
if that
Yes.
it becomes for somebody.
I have a note that we should work on a new access policy. Updating either the existing one or writing a new one to make it very clear what the
When it-
select board has. So moving a little bit more to the east, we have large areas of the existing sidewalk. The difference in color is the light tan would be new sidewalk, either a brand new sidewalk or replacing sidewalk conditions that aren't satisfactory and in poor condition. The most of this section is adequate. The biggest, I think, issue along this entire existing section that LaRose brought up and also Ben brought up in his comments is the berming from sidewalk plowing that's impacting water drainage. So Evan, I'll again turn this back to you. I'm not sure what the solution is for that, but working that into the
Shave and reseed.
and
We've done it in other areas.
yeah.
But down by the road, that sidewalk's in terrible shape.
Yeah, that sidewalk definitely needs to be replaced.
Is that the kind of
Tan.
yellowish color?
Yep. So that area was highlighted as the sidewalk is really deteriorated, not just surface wise, but
Well, that'd be 5 feet and then either side, that'd be the old 4.
yep. And the reason why, because with this preferred alternative, I mean, we are balancing a desire to, the overarching goal is to bridge these connection gaps. So where we already have existing sidewalk, why fix it when it's not broke?
When it's replaced, it would be
Right.
5 foot, but right now
Yes.
it doesn't need to be replaced.
Yes, because it's in adequate condition, 4 feet is ADA compliant, it's not like the most, we want it to be 5 feet, but 4 feet is not the end of the world. So eventually, as these sidewalks do need to be maintained and replaced, they will be updated to the 5 feet. But the goal of this project was to connect the pedestrians. So the goal has been to keep costs low while also maintaining connections.
Just to the west of the little short piece of the roses, you said,
Mhm.
they park cars in front of that apartment. Is there enough space there or do they park over the top of the side?
I
Which
believe
one?
it's
Between that green kind of a.
like, it's not
Is that
31,
apartment house there?
it's not 31 west, it's,
Where the bigger, bigger
area.
driveway.
Yes, between the two driveways.
That's where they usually have four
It's like
cars.
27, yeah.
Yeah.
And then do you have the specifics on that?
Well, if it's where you just circled, that's a spot where we're not changing the sidewalk, right? We're leaving that. Yeah. So in that area, we're leaving it in place. That's what the gray color coding on this diagram means. So we won't be changing how it looks today or how they can use it today.
That edge of the sidewalk and the edge of the road.
Yeah.
Yeah.
10 feet?
Well, they can't park on the sidewalk. That's an enforcement issue.
Yeah.
That's not a
Yeah.
sidewalk. That's an enforcement issue.
Continuing on, as you'll see, we have the adjusting the center line 2 feet to the north. That's gonna be part of the, part of a later alternative you haven't seen yet. Well, you just haven't seen the part. But again, replacing damaged areas, and realigning the existing connections in this area where there's a very significant jag where the sidewalk just kind of shifts over, oddly. So getting that connection to just be a little bit more aligned, a little bit more friendly to, folks with accessibility needs. Keeping the parking in front of the bank the way it is now, for the bus stop that's there. We wanna make sure the bus can get in there, pull over safely. So not changing that parallel parking. And then as we move further west, again, doing a little bit more realignment, getting a proper curb sidewalk, in front of the post office instead of just
That's great.
asphalt with lines. And those will be 3 parallel spaces, or 3 angled spaces that were once parallel.
And the phone,
There a telephone
there's
pole right there?
telephone pole there. Is that gonna be out of the way?
Yeah, it's right here.
Okay, yeah, I see.
You can see the shadow. Yeah.
Where is it?
No, wait a minute, I'm missing.
Right in there? Okay.
Yeah, right where the cursor is, you see the shadow.
Yeah, yeah. Now, is there thought, this would be I think a board decision, but making those 3 in front of the post office, they just did it in Middlebury this summer. They made the ones in front of the post office 15-minute parking.
That would, yeah, that's up to the select
And I
board.
think it's worked out well down there. People go and get their mail and leave, and they don't take it all day shop, they don't park there all day.
Is that a problem there? Usually when I drive by the post office, the spots are open.
I feel like it's inherent that, I mean, if you wanna put a policy that's 15-minute parking there, but I feel like inherently the use of those parking spaces is for people using the post office who are gonna go in for the.
Or run to Champlain Farm.
They go.
But either way, they're picking.
Yeah.
But they're not
They're
usually
not
there very long, unless there's something going on at the park.
I mean, I think I think we can
Monitor it.
it, and if it becomes a problem, we can deal with it.
And then after the draft alternatives, I did send a letter out to the owners of Champlain Farms, both by email and a physical letter. Just requesting feedback if that this option presented here is our preferred alternative because it keeps everything in the town right of way. We avoid right of way conflicts. Everything's in our purview. And also I think it will provide some really beneficial traffic calming measures overall. As you can see, that's a curved buffer or a mountable sidewalk, so that there is
So they have to
truck
slow
traffic.
down to
Yep.
get up over it.
Yep.
Okay.
Hey, see,
So,
that's raised kind of like down in front of Thad's. It goes up and then back.
Yeah, they're gonna be mountable sidewalk curb like at the entrances there and then a curved buffer.
Is that gonna be, can people drive over?
Yeah,
Okay.
so the 2 alternatives there really, I mean, it can be mountable where it's like a bumpy drive over.
Yeah.
It could be a sidewalk that just ramps down to the street level for that part. I would recommend that less just because I think you want people to really know they're driving over a sidewalk as they go in, not taking it.
Right now,
Quickly, but-
people, they see the light is green, the way they pull out of there to move that light is like,
Yeah.
I do want it to be raised
Yep.
a little bit so that they're like, oh, I better be safe.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Are you diagonally parking changing that across, cause it looks diagonal.
Yes, so that's also what I wanted to talk to the select board about.
I do not like background traffic.
Sharon, does
Take
that?
a defensive driving force, it's not a good idea. But
Wait, aren't you doing that already, Sharon?
no, I do not back out.
He backs in.
traffic. I back in so I can drive out.
I like to do that.
And
too,
that's what I
Sharon.
do when I park there.
Do the same thing.
I do that even when I go to walk. I like
And
to
so
back-
that's going to be easier to do with our current straight ones versus angled.
Correct. That's what, I think that's Sharon's complaint.
So
Yeah.
this is the big reason why I wanted to talk to the select board, because in the draft alternatives, there was a lot of discussion on parking.
Mhm.
And I just wanted to make sure that we were all on the same page moving forward with parking. Because the perpendicular spaces or the angled spaces, it's not set in stone, so we can. Let me ask.
We lose spaces if we do.
We lose 4 spaces, yeah.
Yeah.
If we do the angle, like you've got proposed there, is that we have to do that because we slip the center line to the north 2 feet?
No, because the
No.
cars are longer parked at an angle than they are parked straight in. You
Yeah.
proved that with your paper the other day.
It's just
No,
like the,
it's the opposite. You have more space with angled.
No, you don't.
Yes, you do.
You
No,
don't,
you
Ian,
don't.
because you put that back corner, the corner that's not, if the front wheel touches the curb on the right side, the front wheel on the left side is
Is-
off the curb, so the ass end of the vehicle is out,
It-
whatever that distance is, that's how much further that back corner of the vehicle is out in the road.
Right, but your line is longer though. Right? Is that not?
You're,
What? So this is a sidewalk here raised.
Yeah, no, that's just normal, that's just.
That's the same height?
That's just
Yeah.
sidewalk.
yeah, regular sign.
I don't think if you don't raise it,
Well, that's in front of the post office.
oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Here, this,
that's raised.
That-
Yeah,
yeah.
that's
Oh.
raised.
what's the from here to here versus here to here?
It's gotta be the same.
It has to be the same.
Do you need to move that line 2 feet over?
Do we need to move the center line, Evan? I'm
Could you
referring to
do
Evan
it
for all the.
with 1 foot.
So
Yeah.
are we talking about the parking against the green or the parking in front of the post office?
I
Oh.
believe
It's against the green.
yeah.
Do we
Against the
need the
green?
center line
Yeah,
of the
so-
road?
Right,
Is-
it was a suggestion the state gave when they gave the pre-review, because with the 90-degree parking, they were worried about people backing up, having to go a few feet over the center line to
Yeah.
get out. That was the reason for the suggestion.
When it's diagonal, it's hard to back in.
Yeah, you can't back in if it's diagonal.
Yeah, diagonal would fit more with the parking orientation on Main Street already. But the perpendicular is something that's been there for a while. I did reach out to both Meredith and Courtney from Core. Just to get their thoughts and impressions as the farmers market and vendors and all the summertime activities. Courtney said that I think she was a little hesitant a little worried about the angled parking just with vendors and farmers market, but believe that over time everyone would adjust.
I'll tell you my biggest,
Go ahead.
my
Sorry.
biggest complaint about parallel parking and making or
Hang-
diagonal parking is the same complaint I have on Main Street. People come down this way and they have to go this way to turn in, you know,
They're coming
and
from the
then,
west headed east and they're gonna turn in.
right, and then when they back out and they wanna go the other way, they're backing out into the traffic on the other side of the road and
That's
stop.
what I was gonna say. Theoretically, all that traffic should be coming from the east going west, and when they back out, they should be going west, but you know that's not gonna be the
They
case.
don't do it on Main Street, you know, and it.
I've never seen them back out, like say,
Yeah,
on the covers.
Oh, yeah.
And back and then head
They
east.
backed
I've
in
done it.
front of me.
Yeah.
I've had to stop. You know. And
It's funny to police all you guys.
I mean,
Well, no, is gonna do it too. It's
Not
pretty.
Not necessarily.
It's, how many people back out of here that wanna go to the light? Back,
follow you.
bulk back out and go that way.
I turn around every day the right way.
How far is the Champlain Farms sidewalk away from the gas pumps?
10 feet.
10 feet?
Minimum.
It has to be 10 feet?
Well, it's-
It says minimum 10 feet from gas pumps down, bottom, you see it.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
see that, but
That's not a design like guidance. That's just with how it's drawn and it being a slightly different angle in the sidewalk. I think it ranges from 10 to 11 feet the way we drew it. That's all that note means.
Okay.
I guess I was just gonna ask, could it go down to 9 so you can slide that center line over a foot? So
You gotta give them room enough to open their door and get out of the car at the pump site.
That's true.
Yeah.
I mean, they're already gonna be swinging their door, if they're getting out of the other side, they're already gonna be swinging their door over the sidewalk.
Yeah. I mean, the angled parking, or whether it's 90-degree, we're not going to be able to solve that. It's going to be a pain for any number of people. Like Sharon described, backing into this is going to be very difficult now. You're backing in and now at an angle. We can't angle them the other way because it's on the opposite side of the lane. So that doesn't work. The simplest solution is just, if we can, leave them straight, and we run the risk of people backing over that center line, but that's what's happening right now. We see that already. So I do feel like, while I do like the angle because it does match everything else we have, including on the other side of the park, they're all angled spaces. It does, anyone backing in does create an issue. But I'm not sure. There's not an easy solution to fix that.
You look, all the ghost cars there are parked straight.
I do think that angled parking will hopefully slow traffic down along there. It allows us to not have cars sticking out into a lane potentially, so the cars will be a little bit further in, I hope. And then I do like the parking on the post office side. I think that's great. I think that also will allow cars to slow down too. People tend to zip in because it's a parallel parking and zip out really quickly, but having it be established sort of like angled spaces like the rest of the town, I think has good continuity, and also will hopefully reduce traffic speeds along this area.
And if they don't want to park like that, they can pull into the lot at the post office.
Yeah. Yeah, there are spaces that.
Yeah, sure.
When they're straight and I can back in, my car's higher in the back, so I can clear the
Curbs.
curb that's there, and I'm further away from the traffic in the road. The other way, I won't be able to clear the curb from the front of my car.
Just to ask that question, what if
Hmm?
it'd be a big expense?
You get it, you mean a taller car like a
We
truck.
move that curb on the park side to the north, foot and a half, and lower it by a couple inches.
Well, then you're gonna get close to that sidewalk.
Well, there's 4 or 5 feet between the sidewalk and the curb, 4 feet.
Is it
I
really?
think they like, well, we got our sidewalk guy, I think they like 4 or 5 feet of green space.
Yeah.
For the lot, especially because some of the trucks back in, they back in, but
Yeah.
they're not to the sidewalk, but they're not sticking out in the middle of the road
Yeah.
either. Of course, in the winter time, it doesn't matter because there's much snow there.
It's true.
Can this be solved just by getting Sharon a really good parking spot right outside the office?
I think Sharon,
Because we could do that. I'll make you a sign, Sharon.
I can't back in.
Oh, that's true. Yeah. Do you have to back in? Is that an absolute imperative?
So
likes to be leave in a hurry.
That's true.
this question, do you want it angled or do you want it perpendicular?
I'd like it perpendicular, I'd like to see it straight like it is right now, to see how much it tightens up the street though.
It's not, it doesn't tighten the street up as much as angled.
Well, then why are we angling? Evan? Why are we
I'm
angling?
sorry.
Why are we angling if it doesn't tighten up the street? I would think it would be if they're pushing that center line over 2 feet.
Well,
The thing with the paper, the car takes up more space. You got two
right, but
pieces.
Evan,
it's
can you
just
speak to that?
yeah, it's still that you can back out in a tighter angle than if you're 90 degrees in, so you don't have, the rear end of your car going over the center line as you get yourself out of the space. That was the comment from the state.
Yeah.
It's also for me, because I park in there all the
You're-
time,
you
and
gotta
if I have
make it
to
even.
back.
Yeah, you gotta make it even. No,
Yeah,
it's
but you're
way up there,
Up there, yeah.
whatever this
So-
is.
Yeah, put this,
Yeah, use.
Evan did say
Thought
that
it was
the
an
the
option.
feedback from the state is that angled parking is preferred for the. If we're doing
Yes.
how people should drive,
Yes.
just
Less
the
of-
safer of pulling the safer angle.
If you go straight, it creates so many blind spots, and that's the problem.
Mhm.
Is that you can't back out without getting steamrolled by some truck doing 70 through the intersection, and if I'm at an angle, I can go back and I can actually see. And I
Yeah.
know you guys hate this, but you know what? It'd be sure as hell nice to see myself.
I
I
know.
don't mind that there.
I don't either.
I feel like it's really, I mean, I'm like Sharon, I don't trust people. I start going back and you can't see anything and they're going so fast. That's why I
But being
back in
straight
and I
on
go,
here,
"Ugh."
when we back out straight on here, I'm either about to get T-boned this
Right,
way.
right, that's what I'm
or some
saying.
asshole coming this way.
Yeah, yeah,
At
that's what I'm
least being
saying.
here, I can go, whoop.
Right, no, I'm agreeing with you.
Yeah. Now, I
yeah,
just
but
did,
that's okay if you're going that way, but if they wanna go the other way.
then talk shit, Michelle.
Sorry, they do it,
Yeah.
But-
Put Bruce out there.
I just did a little with my phone, okay, this is my car, she's Sharon's car, okay?
You're gonna
there it
hold
is,
that up so Ian can see when you're done.
okay, and then let's get part of it. And then, look at that, I took that car, I only gained that, I took up 2 parking spots.
All right, Bill Nye.
I'm gonna cut all of it. We have to wrap.
Yeah.
Can you see?
Yes. I think this is great. So as Greg is teaching Joel some things, I have a couple questions. When Aiden and I walked this, we thought it was excellent. We love this idea. We went outside where the new sidewalk would be right in front of Holly Hall. We walked across where we would walk with the new area for the larger curb. And we thought it was great. The one thing that we did talk about when we arrived back at Holly Hall was a reconfiguration of the accessible entrance to the west of Holly Hall. At the moment, there's nothing drawn on, and I know it wasn't part of this project, but I would like to make a note of it. If people can see my cursor, at the moment, you're stepping off a nice sidewalk and you're going to very uneven asphalt that goes around here, and then it's been patched, and then you enter through the accessible entrance on the side of the building. I would like to add to this project, because I think it'd be fairly simple, the probably removing this tree if we had to, because it might get into the root system, but having a direct line to our accessible entrance right here. So we would just add a section of sidewalk right here. It would be curbed on this side and curbed on the other side, and we would go right here. I think that would be an important thing to add, and I think it would be the perfect opportunity if we put this out to bid, that would just be included in this project.
We can't add that in, it's far too late.
We can do it, but we can't add it to this project.
Okay, that's fine. I just wanted to make a public note of it so we all remember it, because it is important, because at the moment we are not providing adequate accessible entrance currently.
Okay.
Ian, if you look up the prints for this building, when we remodeled it, 12 years ago, 15 years ago, they were gonna remove that tree and come off the entrance and go into that building, and they said, well, we can just be down I'll call it Champlain Farms way, and that ADA door is not compliant.
No, so we need to fix that. But so I just wanted to make a note of that. If it can't be added in here, totally fine, but that's something that we should be thinking of. And especially since we're keeping the sidewalk with this design, we keep the original sidewalk anyway. We would just add on to that here, and we could even keep the curb that's right there and just sidewalk across. But everything else looks good. We walked out to the front here. This offers good protection. Walking all the way across was great. And I love, as I said before, this design with the post office, since it's a complete no man's land right now, you run the risk of getting mown over by any number of vehicles. This is great, coming across, coming in, and actually having proper parking right here. So this is excellent.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate your time as we just reviewed that. I've made a note that we talked a lot about parking, but it seems like from the state's perspective, angled is preferred for
Yep.
overall safety. unless, I mean, the north parking isn't necessarily inherent into this project, so if the select board doesn't want to deal with it right now, then it's probably gonna come up later on down the line as state wants us to do more, but
Tells the Evan, you, AZ, tell the state they want Angle Park and they can take over the plow and sand and salt. West Street, East Street, and Main Street.
all right.
How much we save?
That's not going to work, but I think angled parking is the proper thing to do. It matches every other parking space pretty much that we have in the downtown area. And so I think it is an important thing to do. I know it creates some problems in some areas, but it does make it safer, and that's the whole point of this project.
We could build a parking lot for those 4 spots.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Parking lot.
But great work, AZ. Well done.
Thank you. I did great. And then I'm just gonna stay here and just really, really quickly.
Do you need to move the meeting on to the?
Yeah,
Good job, good job.
we don't need, do we need a vote on accepting this plan?
No, it was just the preferred alternative from the draft alternative that you already said yes to. It's just I wanted to show you.
Okay. All
And
right
then-
then.
AZ, when do we have the final presentation from VHB?
The second meeting in March.
Okay, fantastic.
I will not be here probably.
I'd like to see
Fantastic.
what you got here, Norm, and then what it would look like if it would fit straight on just what we have presently on the south side of the park.
You just want to see it. What
Yeah, I want to see the differences.
Okay.
All right, town plan
Thank you. Evan.
RFP overview.
Thank you, Evan. Appreciate your work on this.
Thank you. Bye.
Oh, you're up again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna speed run this. I sent y'all a draft RFP. Feel free
You
to
want me to
give
put it up?
I said it today.
No, okay.
You want me to put it up?
As I was walking in.
I sent it,
20 minutes ago.
I'm not gonna walk through it step by step because I know the agenda is a little bit behind. This is, so just take a step back. We did also get selected to be part of a pilot program through the Climate Action Office that gives us a planning guide. We got selected to be part of the Social Resilience Planning Guide. Really excited about that. That's gonna give us a framework for approaching the town plan update by really asking important questions on who are the most vulnerable people in Bristol and how do we get them involved in the planning process. Michelle's the most vulnerable person in Bristol. You heard it here on public record. But I'm really excited about this planning guide. That is not part of the grant, but that is going to be a framework as we approach the grant and what we're going to need the consultant to be looking into. This draft RFP, it's hoping to get this out by the end of the month to bid so we can start the project come April, take about a month to get some bids back, put it through the selection process with the committee of likely town staff, me, Greg and Frida, maybe Kevin Hansen from the planning commission. The one part,
This is to help with the planning.
The town plan. Yes.
To hire a consultant.
Somebody other than Addison County.
Smaller people.
Right.
Yes.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
Okay.
mostly just want extra eyes on this. If there's anything where you're like, oh, you missed that. I'll give you time to read this, not in this meeting.
Yeah, I'll download later.
Yeah. But the biggest thing about this planning grant that I see this consultant being used for is public outreach and really drumming up public support. I sent out a memo to the planning commission a little bit ago that y'all were CC'd on, kind of outlining my work plan. Considering this grant ends in 2027 December, this consultant will be hitting the ground running and really diving into the public outreach that the planning commission is working on it themselves. My goal is for this consultant to be
Update that 2020 town plan. Coordinate with middle staff, previous boards review elimination of, we're not implementing anything from 2020.
No, it's the implementation plan from the 2020 plan. So like the goals, policies and tasks, but I can change that.
Are there a number of like consultancies that do type of work?
Yes, there's a large list of consultants that is published by the Department of Housing and Community Development. Which is a big reason why I think we should put this out to bid and
Mhm.
see what other perspectives we can find. Who have an understanding of the municipal requirements from the Planning Act, but
Mhm.
also can bring in some outside perspectives on maybe how to approach climate. Yeah, a fresh approach
Mhm.
to a big thing is going to be resiliency overarching, mostly related to natural resources. Big focus is going to be on flood resilience and making sure our town plan accounts for that. We did just do the hazard mitigation plan, so I would like to see the town plan reflect or the town plan call out and highlight that hazard mitigation plan. Even because the town plan is the overarching, we have the capital improvement, the hazard mitigation, and the energy plan is all kind of appendixes. So basically, this RFP, hoping to get it out by the end of this month, proposals by the end of March, and then to hit the ground running come April. Those dates might change a little bit, but hoping to get it running April, so that we can really maximize the summertime. And really look forward to working hands-on with a consultant. And then, yeah, the planning guide I will share with you all as well, just so you can see it and see what we're doing. But I think it's a really helpful tool and I'm really excited to be part of that program. And be piloting that guide. But yeah, that's my little update on the town plan and the RFP.
That's great.
Can I ask a
How's that?
question? How do you see once you pick a person or pick a consultancy, how do you see working with them? Is it something where you're working directly with the planning commission, or is it sort of separate meetings outside of the planning commission? I can't remember how it was done before.
I mean, the way I see it is that the planning consultant is gonna work directly with me. And
Okay.
I want them focusing on all the kind of not mundane, but like the statistical updates to demographics, doing plan map updates, stuff that the planning commission it is part of their responsibility, but would pull down and take away from their ability to discuss the bigger conversations with
Right.
the consultant's feedback and recommendations. But I want the planning commission to really focus on the meat and potatoes of the town plan, with advice and recommendations from the plan consultant. But I want the planning consultant to come in and kind of do the
Bring
background
information to
work.
that,
Yeah,
right.
the background work and kind of provide those recommendations and planning advice to supplement and booster the planning commission's overall work.
That sounds great. Excellent. Good work on that. Yeah, I'll give some feedback. I'll read through it.
Just a little look see, and then I think that's it. I'm not on the agenda anymore.
Great.
Great. Thanks, AZ.
Thanks,
All right.
Izzy.
Select board roundtable. Joel.
Just a couple of things. I want to thank the guys. We know East Town crews have been stretched out. Eric went by the house when I was backing in the truck in on Wednesday night, backing in at 9 o'clock. He's going by him in the tandem. I go, "You're going the wrong way. Aren't you going to go home tonight?" And he goes, "Well, maybe." That was Friday night, and I want to thank them. And I told him Gary Clark got a hold of me at the ball game the other night. Gary lives in the upper notch about a tree close to the road that's dying, and Eric said, "I'll run up and take a look at it and we take it down in the spring." So that's all I got.
We're gonna be up there working anyway when we do the
Yep.
canopy. Michelle,
I think I'm good.
Jessica,
Yeah, I think I'm good too. Ian already did the update about town meeting stuff, so that's all I've been
Okay.
working on.
Ian,
Yeah, just preparing for town meeting, sending out more information about sort of the lot and the voting on Front Porch Forum. I'll do that this week. And then excited to work on the Holly Hall and Library projects as those ramp up, having meetings about that. And of course, the water still. So lots of stuff going on.
okay, I believe I am good. Town administrators report.
Oh, God.
Huh?
I don't have anything.
You don't have anything?
I mean, this whole
you doing anything?
meeting is my town.
Okay. Correspondence? No correspondence?
No,
Executive session?
no.
Adjournment?
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second, third.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Motion carried.
Right. Thank you, everyone.